Small ship versus big ship. Does ship size matter in the Panama Canal? Yeah, because there's two Panama Canals, the old and the new. My name's Gary Dean. I'm the Blue Hat Bucket List Traveler. I've done 34 cruises in 3.5 years, saw the world by cruise ship. Over 70 countries and 300 cities. I also drove the lower 48 in that same 3.5 year period, so lots of traveling. So why would I do the big ship and the small ship? I didn't do it just to be on a different ship. I did it because it's a different canal. And I didn't know that. My first Panama Canal, I did on the NCL Bliss, which is a big ship. So we went through the new Panama Canal. It was amazing. It was a Super Bowl of cruising. If you've seen my other video, lots of people were up early, saving seats. It was crazy, right? I got up there at 4:30 in the morning and the observation lounge was already full of people that had slept there. Got the best seats. So hats off to them. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have anyways. They ended up opening up the bow of the ship, and then you can see it from the top. You know, there's different places to see it anyways. You can see it off the 7th deck. You can be on the deck of the 7th floor of the ship, close to the walls and everything. So there's all different ways to see it. It's all good. So I get done the Panama Canal and people are like, oh, you're cruising, right? That was my third cruise. I did it on the big ship through the new canal. I didn't know it was the new canal. I just knew I did the Panama Canal. And then I run into people, because I did 30 some more cruises. They would say, you'd be on an excursion and be like, oh, have you ever done the Panama Canal? I end up talking to people a lot at tender ports, because you're kind of on those tender boats, all crammed in there and waiting around and doing that. So it's kind of the most time I'm around people. Seems to be when the most, have you done this kind of cruising thing comes up. And if you go to the pool or the hot tubs, you're going to get that kind of thing too. Where have you been? What have you done? What's next? And they said, oh, did you do the new canal or the old canal? I don't know. Well, what ship were you on? The Bliss. Is it a big one? Yeah. Oh, well, then you would have had to do the new one because that doesn't fit in the old canal. And I'm like, really? There's two? And yeah, there's two. There's the original and the new one. And you went through the new ones. They did it with the tugboats, right? And I'm like, yeah. The boats push you in there and hold you in there. And that's how that one works. And it's pretty fast. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. And I haven't done two. So I knew then that I needed to figure out going again. That the donkeys or the mules, I guess they call them, are on the old one, and it's more to see, and it takes longer, and it's going to be on a smaller ship, so kind of more. You'll see more because there's less people, kind of idea. So then I need to figure out that whole thing, and that took me quite a while because there's only so many Panama Canal. I want to do the real canal, not just to go up, go around the lake, go back. You can do lots of those out of Miami, but they don't transit all the way back down to the Pacific, right? I wanted to do the Atlantic through the lake down to the Pacific. So I needed to wait for a repositioning cruise on a small ship and make sure, I phoned NCL. When I saw the NCL Jade's going to go out of Miami, end up in San Diego, I have to do a back-to-back because it's going to go down to Lima first. But that's okay because I want to see some of more of Central America, Costa Rica, El Salvador, things like that, more of Mexico going back up. So that's all good. It's just going to be a long one, 29 days. Are you sure it goes through the old canal? And NCL, sales desk said, yep, that will go through there. So I booked back to back. I got the same cabin, so that was great. And I did it. I'm doing it right now. I'm still on it, actually. This is cruise 33. And as long as things go well, I will have done 34 in 3.5 years. My next one's in May. This is March. So I got a month off in April, and then I fly to do my 34th. So the 32 and 33 I did finish 32 was Miami to Lima through the canal on the NCL Jade, and it was the old canal with the mules, and it was amazing. We started later though. We had a 9 a.m. start on the Bliss when I did it the first time coming LA to Miami on the new canal. It was a 5 a.m. start, so that starting early like that was more of an exciting thing. People had to set their alarms, get up early in that. But this was we're going to start at 9, so there was no kind of rush in the morning. no hectic thing. But it was amazing, to watch the mules working and the Panamanians waving to us, the work crews. The other ships are so close to you in the that are coming. We were going Atlantic to Pacific, and they were coming Pacific to Atlantic, and the big tankers and the working ships. We never saw another cruise ship. We just saw the working ships. They're all waving. It was amazing. I'd say if you can't do both the big ship and the small ship, then do the small ship. If you can only do one, do that one, and do the full. Doesn't matter if you go LA to Miami or if you go Miami to LA or, some version of that, but you want to go Atlantic to Pacific or Pacific to Atlantic. This one, you could go get off in Lima. So that was kind of a different, they don't go down there much. Not many ships do. So we saw Ecuador, Colombia, and 2 stops in Peru. One of them was canceled due to weather, so we just saw Lima. But Lima was amazing. Great itinerary. But if you can only do one, do the small ship would be my suggestion. A lot more to see and do when you see those mules going all the time, and it's very interesting, and it's slower paced too. It takes longer. Get more bang for your buck. Now, the big ship versus the small ship, for the experience of it, being a passenger. Well, on a big ship, you've got more places you can watch from. Okay, so let's the big ship has more space, so it also has more passengers, but more space. So I think for not being crowded, the big ship is better. You're definitely all piling in on a small ship. On this ship, the top part has the glass is too high. So it was pretty much, you had to be on the bow if you wanted great pictures. From the Spinnaker Lounge, the windows are, due to the humidity and that, they're not great, and they're dark kind of, so your pictures aren't going to be good. It's going to be okay, but not going to be amazing. Better than nothing. But the best ones were on the bow, and that's obviously, very crowded, right? I was lucky. I saw somebody with their selfie stick, and they just, instead of holding it out this way, they went up with it, and then they were just holding it like this, getting over top of everybody's head, getting the videos of the canal. And so that's what I did. So when you see some of mine later, I'll get them sped up so you don't have to go in slow motion. That wasn't my original thought. I just copied that from somebody. But if you like your space and you don't like to be crowded, then do a big ship. But if you're, okay with crowds, then the better experience, for me anyways, was the original canal, the small ship, old locks I think I'd have to check to be exact, but I think they're just cost the same. It's, they just try to get what they can get depending on how popular it is. Cost-wise, I'm sure it's about the same. Panama Canal crossings, though, tend to be a pretty good price point because it's a long cruise. The longer the cruise, you'll tend to find the better the price, because the amount of people that can do it is, the supply and demand is less. Not as many people can get that much time off to do it. So I work from anywhere in the world as long as I have internet, so I can do these kind of things. And then the rest are, there's a few other nomads, and then the rest are retired. It skews to an older crowd for sure. You're not going to see many kids. You're not going to see, many honeymooners. You're not going to see many of that. It's pretty much an older crowd, about as old as you're going to find really on a cruise ship. This will be this one, the Panama Canal, and it's kind of a bucket list. Get her done, but before, the health isn't good enough to do it for a lot of people, so they're here. So I don't think it sells out. I think you can always get last minute deals if you're checking around. So in closing, big ship, small ship, does size matter? I think for experience, small ship, you see more. You get the mules, you get the ropes, you get all of that, so you definitely get a better experience that way. But to see it better, you see it on the big ship going through the new canal. So you got to trade those two things off. I prefer the small one, but, that's just me. So you check it out. I would say do a small ship. And if you can, do like I did, do a small and a big, right? Couple different times, or different times of the year. Sometimes maybe you can even get it done in the same season if the big ones are moving at a different time than the small ones. Cheers.